right, Juan Soto did not sign with the Padres. That is a developing story, but Juan Soto has gone to the New York Mets, the richest deal in baseball history. Juan Soto, the New York Mets, 15 years, $765 million, which likely makes the trade that A.J. Preller made last offseason make a lot more sense and more palatable as the Yankees don't even land Juan Soto after trading for him for 1 year. So we're reacting to that. We're reacting to Roki Sasaki being posted reportedly at the winter meetings this upcoming week. Will the Padres finally make a move? I mean, there's so much movement right now around baseball. The Dodgers have been once again active this weekend. We'll discuss that. And we're heading into this 2024 winter meetings where the Padres are behind the 8 ball in the National League. There's no other way to look at it other than that, coming off a 93-win season. So make your way in. All right, subscribe. If you're here, we have year-round content. We're here on the Sunday night before the winter meetings. All right, we're here for you live. We're here for you if you're watching on replay. Please subscribe. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on X, at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We do appreciate all the super chats. We really do appreciate your support of our work. We'll get to all of them. If you have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, click the $ below the chat box. If you want to become a member, you can click join down below. Obviously, the breaking baseball news is one of the more remarkable contracts you've ever seen in sport. It's Juan Soto, 15 years, $765. It's crazy money. It's the richest deal in baseball history in terms of overall dollars. And Juan Soto is back in the National League. He's staying in New York. He will be playing in Queens at Citi Field, working for Steve Cohen. And the Mets are going to be a problem. They were already good in 2024. There's no reason to expect that they wouldn't be good in 2025 and beyond, landing Juan Soto, Jim.
Yeah, it was of the 3 options that you had to pick from, this was the second worst.
Like what in was the middle? Worst?
Dodgers.
What's funny? Okay, so and you're
actually no, actually, you know what? League? No, you know what? I remember talking, and I do remember saying that if he goes to the Dodgers, like the Dodgers ceiling is already at the top. Like you can't get any higher than that. They are easily by far and away the World Series favorites heading into next year. Sure. So getting Juan Soto isn't really going to like up their odds, right? But if he goes to the Mets, then it creates another team that, you know, is on the verge of now becoming a super team level. Like, yeah, actually, I take that back. I think them going to the Mets, not the best move. Not the best move. I would not want to have seen him go to the Dodgers, obviously, but going to the Mets equally as bad, if you can argue that. I wish he would have stayed with the Yankees because get him away from the National League, and now you have to deal with Juan Soto and the Mets and a team and an owner that money is. You think the Dodgers in money is not a problem? The Mets in money is not a problem. They are by far and away the on top of the mountain here as far as spending goes, with Steve Cohen having unlimited pockets. Like it's, you think the Dodgers spent a lot? The Mets are, you know, they spent $765 million on one guy
with none of the money deferred, and the richest owner in professional sports. But I would say this, I mean, they've spent like this now this decade, and it hasn't resulted in an overwhelming win total or success rate in the postseason. Now they've been in, they lost to the Padres a couple of years ago in the wild card round. They were in last year, had a very good year, obviously last year, getting to a championship series. Is this the piece that puts them over the edge? I mean, it is still at the end of the day the New York Mets. So I'm not overly convinced that Juan Soto going to the Mets makes them the favorite to win the National League next year. In fact, they're not the favorite to win the National League next year with Los Angeles in the National League. But, I mean, you just got headwinds if you're the Padres. And listen, Juan Soto is always going to end up somewhere. You were always going to theoretically have to go through Juan Soto to win a World Series, whether it was National League or American League. I mean, this to me is a jaw-dropping number and speaks to, I mean, honestly, it is one of the biggest wins in the career of Scott Boras. It fulfills the dream of Juan Soto not signing that deal with the Nationals. I mean, Juan Soto looks like, I mean, Juan Soto's the biggest winner here. There's no, and Scott Boras too. And you can say it's about dollars and cents, but that's what sports are. And honestly, the other winner is the Players Union, who gets a $765 million contract in the books, and that then aligns other contracts behind it. It's a massive deal. It's a huge win for the players. It's a huge win for Scott Boras. I don't blame Juan Soto. He's won a World Series. He waited for this moment. He got paid more. He was offered more by the Mets than the Yankees. I think simply it came down to that. I don't think this is a reflection on the Mets organization. I don't think this is what Jeff Passenger said on ESPN. There's some seminal moment in the history of the Mets. I think they offered the most. He took the most. That was always the plan. He would have gone to Anaheim for the most, but he's going to the New York Mets because guess what? The Mets and the Angels have similar baseball histories, and he's ending up with New York because they have the most money right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the Angels offered like the most money, they would have to offer the most money by a lot.
I mean, they've been so awful.
Yeah, like the winning has to play a factor into this, and the Mets have enough resources to win, and they're just in the NLCS. But you're right, and I said this on Twitter. Like people were thinking that I'm dogging them, and then, yeah, it sounded like it, but there's no loyalty here. You know, Manny did the exact same thing. Who's offering me the most money? I'll go there. And that's what Juan Soto, and it's not a lot more, right? The Yankees actually offered more, but the Mets offered the most AAV.
Or wait, what was the Yankees offer? Total offer I saw from Heyman. What was it?
16 for 760.
But this is 15,765. It's actually $5 million more overall dollars, right?
Hold on, let me look. Because I thought it was.
Yeah, Heyman had it. Heyman actually broke this news somehow.
No. The Yankees, oh yeah, you're right. They're right. But yeah, you're right. The Yankees offered 760 and the Mets offered 760. So it's the same thing. But you see like how close it was. And this was from the beginning who is going to offer me the most money? Who's going to offer me the most AAV per year? And that's where I'm going. Now, I truly never thought the Blue Jays had a shot or the Red Sox.
Neither did
I mean, this to me was a 2-horse race from the beginning. I said this right after the World Series ended.
We said it did. We said he was going to end up in New York. Yeah, I thought the Yankees were the front runner. The Yankees don't lose out on players they want typically, and they just lost out on a player that was in-house that they wanted.
I thought the Mets had a real good shot at this, and they ended up getting him because Steve Cohen. It's like, the Yankees were the big bag dog on the street forever, and now you have someone that is like bigger and badder moving in right next to you, and that's Steve Cohen. Now the team history-wise doesn't even compare to the Yankees, but this is the first time in a long time that you can remember. Holy shit, the Mets just beat out the Yankees on a big-time free agent, and a big-time free agent that was with the Yankees last year.
No, it doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't happen in baseball history. I don't know what it's going to mean overall. I really don't. I mean, his sheer volume of work is absurdly impressive. We saw it firsthand. So what the Mets are getting is what the Padres, we watched it for 250 games, roughly, over the course of a season and a half plus a postseason. I mean, he has the possibility of putting up some ridiculous numbers. But I mean, you and I both agree. I mean, he's not worth this. I mean, the only way you're worth this is if you're winning multiple titles in New York
and World Series.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to have to win at an absurdly high clip. Do I think that's overly likely? I'll be honest with you. I don't. But if I'm the New York Mets and I'm in the business of selling tickets or trying to compete in national, listen, I respect it, because I understand that, like, we were there a couple of years ago and the Padres are spending like the New York Mets, kind of, a couple of years ago. And it was really something that was, I mean, from a fan base perspective, that's unbelievable. When you're the biggest spender in the room, there's a lot that comes with that. You're in on Aaron Judge and you're in on Trey Turner and you're in on Xander Bogaerts. It makes every day exciting, including the offseason. That's not where the Padres are right now, unfortunately. You can dole out the most money. They did it with Machado. They did it with Tatis. It's not guaranteeing you anything necessarily on field. That's what I would say about Soto to the Mets. Does it put him in a better spot? Of course it does. 15 years. Is he going to have good years in there? Of course he will. I'm not thoroughly convinced that it's this transcendent moment in baseball history and look out, and the Mets are going to win 4 World Series in the next 10 years. I'm not convinced of that at all. We'll see if it's a good fit or not. He's hit at Citi Field. He's staying in New York, and they're a threat. There's no question they're a threat. And we'll see what happens in 2025, The
Mets are like one of the only teams that it doesn't matter how much they've spent on a player. It's never going to affect their bottom line, and it's never going to affect them at all. They could have spent $1 billion on Juan Soto, and it's nothing to Steve Cohen. Like, he wanted Juan Soto. He got Juan Soto, whatever it takes. That's the mindset that he had going into this thing. And is Juan Soto worth that much? Absolutely not.
No.
But he wanted the player, and that's what happened. And I, again, because of that, because knowing Steve Cohen wanted Juan Soto this bad, for anybody out there that still believes the Padres had a legitimate chance to re-sign Juan Soto, you're out of your minds. And there was never, ever, 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 ever a chance that he was going to sign before hitting free agency. No fucking way.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Scott Boras doesn't agree. I mean, Scott Boras has said the opposite of that.
Okay.
I mean,
well, look what he just got. I think he's probably saying to himself, yeah, I'm glad that whatever that whole thing was, like, we made the.
No, it's fair. I mean,
yeah.
but Scott Boras said, and I agree with you. I don't take him at his word because I think it's easy to say now that Peter's no longer here. But he said that they had begun the process of working on an extension for Juan Soto. I think that kind of puts salt in the wound from a Padres perspective. I don't think that's fair to the fan base because now you're left thinking, was there a world in which Juan Soto spent his last 15 seasons playing in San Diego and helping win World Series for the Padres? But we'll never know the truth there. I mean, Boras is very outspoken. He did say that if Peter Sadler was alive, Juan Soto would not have been traded. And he did say they had begun talks on an extension for Juan Soto. I mean, those are his words. And he's the representation for Juan Soto, and he just got him the $765 million deal. This is, I always say, it's like the Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop ad. It's like you'll never know what was true or not. We'll never hear from Peter Sadler or the Padres organization. Plus, the Padres do business with Scott Boras. They're not going to make Scott Boras look bad publicly. I don't buy it either. I don't think. Do I believe that the Padres would have signed Juan Soto if Peter Sadler was alive for $500 million? No, because he just got $250 million more than that. So it seems unlikely, but Scott Boras has said it.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of anybody right now that is going to be a free agent in the next couple years, even the next like 5 years, that I can be like, that guy is going to potentially top Juan Soto's deal. I think, John, that for the next, I don't think this deal ever gets topped.
That's interesting you say that. You know what? I don't know if that's the case, Jim, because I think if the CBA allows this type of spending prowess, which it will. But by the way, this contract's not $765 for the Mets. It's well over $1 billion because they're tax thresholds. Because
and
they're going to be taxed crazy on this deal.
And you saw like the little twist, the opt-out twist.
What's the opt-out twist?
So if the where is it? Basically, this deal could be like around $808 million because of an opt-out here. Where is it?
To avoid the opt-out by adding an additional $4 million per year to the final 10 years of his deal.
Yeah, so it would then become $55 million per year instead of 51, and then he would jump up to make and it would turn out to be a total of $808 million.
So that's fast. So so Soto's deal contains an opt-out after 2029, but the Mets can void it by paying him the additional money.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
No.
And I'm with you. I mean, the likelihood of a deal like this being topped, I mean, I would say it's not going to be topped, but Steve Cohen owns the Mets.
He does, but I can't like Judge is with the Yankees forever. Bryce Harper's with the Phillies forever. Manny Machado's with the Padres forever.
Yeah, but I mean, there'll be a new crop.
Soto's
right? I mean,
Soto's now with the Mets. Ohtani's with the
right, but I mean,
Dodgers.
Soto 5 years ago was 19. I mean, nobody would have forecasted when he won a World Series a 19-year-old who'd get $700 million. Like things happen quick. I don't think anyone forecasted $700 million when Peter Sadler said you can't take it with you to the grave, and he forecasted $500 million.
I just think it'll be a little while before we see anything.
It'll be a while, but I don't know about ever. I mean, is this the tipping point? Is this the richest deal? It might be. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I mean, this is such a ridiculous deal that this makes the Machado extension and Tatis deal like change. Small potatoes.
I mean, the
Bogarts. How about that? Like, to your point, Aaron Judge, who had this, he's been one of the best players in the sport.
Just won a second MVP.
It just won an MVP and is going to make what, $300 million less over the length of his contract. More than that. What did he get? What was his deal with the Yankees?
It was $360 for.
I mean, that's
10 years.
50. That's less than 50% of the Soto deal in terms of overall dollars. I mean, same thing with Tatis and Machado. You're talking about 40%, 35% of overall dollars. I mean, this makes the Mike Trout deal look small. Is this a reset of the, like, are we going to see? That's the question. Is this an outlier? But the thing is, we thought Ohtani was an outlier. I didn't think I'd ever see a $700 million contract. A year later, he gets more than that. He doesn't pitch.
But what I'm saying is, you thought Juan Soto was going to get big time money, and then this is what happened. I can't think of a upcoming free agent off the top of my head.
I'll tell you one thing. If I'm Jackson Merrill, get away with get away from me with the $100 million talk. Everything changes when guys get paid. They're all part of the same union. Like, it's not like, oh, he's an outlier. Like,
I think he's an outlier.
I don't think it's that much of an outlier when, again, there's going to be other young players that are going to be due up. I'm not saying they're getting 765, but those days of those 8-year lockup contracts on 22-year-olds for $90 million, those days are going to end, dude.
Well, name me one other owner that can do what Steve Cohen just did, besides the Dodgers.
Well, obviously, the Dodgers can do it. I think the Yankees just offered a $760 million contract.
Okay, the Yankees. Then that you're right. So the
Red
Yankees,
Sox clearly were willing to throw $600 million.
I think the Rockies were like, "Hey, look, if we just get a
$6 million,
if we can just talk to Juan Soto, I think we can offer."
But I'm just saying, like, it makes you think twice. If you're a young player in the sport, and you could assure yourself the $100 million deal, or you could wait and maybe turn it into 200. Is what I'm saying. I'm not saying 700, but
my boy Bobby Witt Jr. You're right, but he signed an extension with the Royals.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, are those days gonna, like, are players gonna look at some of those deals and say, listen, $100 million is a lot of money, but you know what's more money than that? $300 million.
Well, if you're Jackson Merrill and you don't sign an extension with the Padres, you are banking on that you are going to A, be a multiple-time All-Star, B, be like Ted freaking Williams 2.0, and then win a World Series. And
no, I'm not saying go get 765. I'm just saying, what did Mike Farron tell us, or maybe it was Fangraphs? Dan Zaborski.
65, like, dude. What the fuck?
I mean, Dan Zaborski said the price for who's the freaking young Oriole that they haven't signed and locked up. They said the price tag goes up $10 million a month.
Adley Rutschman?
No. Who's the Oriole?
Oriole?
Yeah, I think it was an Oriole. Position players. Let me see. See the Orioles. No, I'm serious, because they got a young player that hasn't signed. It's going to cost them a lot of money. Gunnar Henderson.
Oh, yeah, okay. He's not Juan Soto, bro.
That's not my point. I'm saying Jackson Merrill, if you thought you were getting it done for $100 million, I'm just saying young players can wait. They're going to look at deals like this, and are they going to want the Atlanta Braves model, or are they going to want to bet on themselves? Because when you bet on yourselves and you see what's on the other side of it, there's a lot of reward on the other side.
I'll tell you what.
There's a big discrepancy.
And, me included, I giving shit to Scott Boras last offseason. Most of his clients did not get what they wanted. And it was a bad year for Scott. He has bounced back in a kind of big way. I mean, Blake Snell, Juan Soto, isn't Willie Adames? No, Willie Adames, I think, is a CAA. But yeah, I mean, look, it's stupid money. It's ridiculous. I don't think Juan Soto is worth that, but it's not going to hurt the Mets because Steve Cohen will just pay more money. Like, that's the thing, is if he went somewhere else, I mean, even the Yankees would have problems, honestly, if they signed Juan Soto to that deal. The Mets will not have problems.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, they burned the thing down 2 years ago when it completely went up in flames, and they cut a little bit of that payroll back, and now they've redoubled down off the NLCS year. I mean, you're going to have to they're not going to just double down and double. Like, listen, Padres had Juan Soto in 2023. They went 82-80. If the Mets go 82-80 in 2025, do they double down and add to their payroll in 2026?
He is a psycho. He's like, to me, the Steve Ballmer of Major League Baseball. But
there's just like no cap.
There's no cap. Exactly. I don't care. I'm going to spend the most money possible to win. And this is what they did, like even this past year's Mets team, which was considered not a great team, but they ended up playing great towards the end and they make the NLCS, right? Like, even that team last year with not a lot of star players on it had, like, I think either the second or the first highest payroll in all of baseball. They were easily top three.
They did. So, no, they had the highest payroll.
Yeah. So it's like, there is no boundaries. There is no limits for Steve Cohen. He will spend whatever it takes. And it's, we talked a lot about the Dodgers and are they ruining baseball because of all the deferrals they're doing and all the money and shit? It's like, Well, the Mets are, they don't even have to worry about deferrals. They can literally pay up front right now, and it's Steve Cohen looks at his phone. Okay, how much do I have to transfer? Okay, boom. Yeah, can I get another espresso martini, please? Like that's it's not anything to him, which is wild.
I mean, they literally put in the CBA a Steve Cohen tax, and he's going to go
Right.
over it. And like
He's
every
fuck, I don't
dollar
care.
over a certain amount is taxed. I think over 50%. Someone could look it up. But I mean, think about that. He's going to take a 50-cent tax per dollar, and he just spent $765 million on this one player. Let's get to some of these super chats. Guys, if you're here, a lot of you are here. Winter meetings are getting underway. In Dallas, the Padres have been eerily quiet, obviously, to start this offseason. The LA Dodgers have not. Roki Sasaki will be posted this week. That could be very impactful, hopefully, in San Diego. But thank you if you are here. Please subscribe here on Content for Baseball Fans with the Padres slant, obviously. And also, thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to all of them, like this one from Vector53. We appreciate you, Vector53. With the first super of the night, he says, at least the Yankees lose out too. I mean, I mean, obviously in New York, it's a
disaster.
big swing and a big moment in the history of New York professional baseball. I would say this: if I'm the Yankees, I'm still making that trade with the Padres. I just made the World Series. Juan Soto had a top 3 MVP year. Yeah, I lost out on Michael King. I lost out on some pitching prospects, but they have a way to overcome some of that by their spending prowess. I think they can overcome not having Michael King in the long run because they had Juan Soto for a year. When they made the trade, did they think they'd have Soto long-term? Probably. I think they probably thought they had a better than 50% chance of keeping him, but I don't think it's some big loss, truthfully, for the New York Yankees. As in, I thought they got what they asked for in trading for him. They got a damn good year from the player. They made a World Series. The Yankees, this World Series are bust, but I mean, if I'm in the Steinbrenner shoes, I'd probably do it again if I knew the end result.
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
I mean, they made a World Series.
And if they're willing to spend $765 million or $760 million on Juan Soto, then they're going to go out and be like, look,
Teoscar Hernandez, come on down.
Yeah, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Fried, Corbin Burns, Pete Alonso.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm the Yankees now, because after losing that World Series, it was like a lot of Yankees fans, mostly all Yankees fans, is like, you better not lose Juan Soto now. Like, you just lost that World Series in epic fashion. You can't lose Juan Soto. You just lost Juan Soto, and you lost Juan Soto to the fucking Mets. So like it's a double whammy right now for the Yankees inside that organization. So if you are anybody else in baseball, I'm now scared of the Yankees because they are going to go out potentially and overpay for a bunch of dudes because they missed out on Juan Soto because they can't afford to not do that.
Bad offseason to be the Padres when you have free agents that are getting paid and you can't compete for any of the top 20 plus free agents because the dollars can be through the roof. I think Jeff Passan reported, or Alden Gonzalez, within the last 72 hours that there's going to be over $3 billion in contracts given out, free agent contracts given out this winter. We've already seen $1 billion of them over the last couple of days. And I mean, obviously the Padres are nowhere to be seen. They're going to have to do it via trade. They're going to have to do it with someone like Roki Sasaki. Or they're going to have to do it unconventionally. JD Gaucho, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says, OMG, grimace. Mets offered more money and were more fun. I don't know if the Mets are more fun.
More funner?
Yeah, more funner.
But you know what? Real quick about the Mets and like the whole, because the grimace thing and a lot of it. Juan Soto wins a World Series with the Mets. He's more idolized by that fan base than he would be by the Yankees fan base. Do you agree with that? If he won a World Series?
I mean, that's not even, of course.
Yeah, not even close. So like,
right.
So like,
he's going to spend 15 years with the Mets.
Yeah. So he wins a World Series with the Yankees. Okay, that's our 28th. You know, he wins one with the Mets. Oh, it's the first one since 1969.
No,
84. That's what it was. Yeah, sorry. No, 80. Not 84.
86.
86. That's what
86 Red Sox.
Buckner. 69 Mets, 86. Yeah, against the Red Sox. Bill Buckner. Right. So it's he's thinking about his legacy too, and his legacy if he wins one with the Mets, it's a greater legacy than it would be if he were to win one or couple with the Yankees. He's never overtaking anybody in the Yankees organization. He has a chance if he does some special things with the Mets. I mean, to be remembered as like a top 3 Mets player of all time.
Isn't that the Roki Sasaki theory? Isn't that the argument for Sasaki not to sign with the Dodgers? They've won a lot. They just won one right now. And you're never going to be remembered as the key player on the team. And like you could win 2 World Series with the Dodgers if you're Roki Sasaki, but that means Otani's got 3 and Yamamoto's got 3.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're KD in that Sasaki example. I don't think you are. I just don't think you're ever going to be seen as the key component of a championship caliber team. I could be wrong there. It's possible I could be off there if he's a dominant Cy Young caliber pitcher for a half decade or more. I just feel like you go to the Dodgers, you're helping them do something they've already done, especially now in recent history. You go elsewhere. I'm not saying only San Diego. You go elsewhere and do it, and you're going to be remembered with more fanfare. I don't know how that's received in Japan. I really don't, but I don't know if he wants to join a team with multiple Japanese players or not, like Los Angeles. Obviously, there's one key one in San Diego with Yu Darvish. Another one from JD Gatcher. Thank you, Matt, for the super chat. He says, owners willing to spend to win. What a concept. Well, they've done it here. It's not like they haven't had a willingness to spend in San Diego. Now, maybe it's changed under Contenda. In fact, it has. I mean, actions speak louder than words. They're not spending like they did 2 years ago, but it's not like the Padres are some frugal franchise that never spends over the last 5 or 6 years. So I'm not going to cast a ton of blame towards ownership as of yet. They're right in the middle of baseball with payroll. They've certainly cut it down. They've been quiet to this point. We don't know what their actions are going to be this offseason. It ain't Peter Seidler's ownership group, but this isn't the Oakland A's either.
No, it's not. And we haven't even mentioned, like, in your division alone, I said the Giants and Posey, they were not going to allow him to fail because it's Buster Posey. Mm-hmm. And what happened? They just landed Willy Adames. Right. They're in on Max Fried. They're in on Corbin Burns. They're looking to make a quick fix there because they just, like, the ownership group is they're not going to allow Posey to fail from the jump. Like, they're going to give him all the resources that he needs to make a real push. And what the Dodgers have done, the Giants now, the Mets, right? The Phillies are still the Phillies. They're looking to make some big moves this offseason as well. The Braves are still the Braves. They're going to get healthy. They're going to get Acuna back this upcoming year. Like, the National League is a freaking gauntlet. Loaded. It's a gauntlet now. And, it's great that the Padres competed this past year and won 93 games, but to repeat that and do it when a lot of people thought you were the best team in the National League over the Dodgers, it's going to be extremely tough. Not to say they can't do it, but it ain't getting any easier here. Like, it's just not.
You went from a 24-hour window in October where you were the favorite to win the World Series. There was a 24-hour window up 2-1 against the Dodgers where the Padres were the favorite to win the World Series in Vegas. You went from that to being right in the middle of the pack.
At best.
Correct?
Yeah. I mean, right now they're not going to be favored over the Dodgers, the Mets, the Phillies, the Braves. Were they fifth, maybe?
I'm saying
right now, fifth, sixth?
I'm saying in baseball, you're talking about the National League. I'm saying they were favored to win the World Series of the 2-1 lead.
I know.
You're not even considering the top teams in the American League. So yeah, in the National League, they're going to come in, 4, 5, 6, 7 range, not higher. And across baseball, you're coming in, I'm making it up, without, between 7th and 12th.
Yankees, Orioles.
Yeah.
Astros. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So, again, there was that moment in time, 2 months ago. It's December. It was October. Name the date. They're playing the Dodgers. They're up 2-1. It's October 14th. And you're a favorite to win the series, and you're a favorite for a brief moment in time to win the World Series, to now where you're watching this spending going on around you, and you can do nothing about it. And it feels like the hill has gotten a lot steeper for San Diego heading into 2025. We'll discuss that on the other side. We do need to thank our title sponsor. We can't do these shows as regularly without the support of Mark Nemitz. He's been with us since day one. We've been doing these YouTube shows. Some of you have been with us. Some of you guys are day one. Some of you, it's probably your first day here, and we appreciate you, whether you're getting here today for a first time or you've been with us for the last 4+ years. Mark's been with us since day one. Title sponsor of the show, great insurance agent. You can take it from us. I've had insurance through Mark for years on years. Homeowners and life and earthquake insurance. I've got 3 policies with Mark. You can as well. He does auto. If you ever need him, trust me, he's there for you. You send an email, he gets right back to you. You call him, he'll talk to you to you about the Padres. You need to file a claim. He's going to take care of it. He's going to save you so much time and money. I did it in 2022. He saved us so much time and money. So Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. You can get free quotes online or free quotes by calling him. Click the link in the description down below. Whatever it is, auto, home, renter's life, native San Diegan, diehard Padres fan, day one supporter of the wrap-up show. If you support our work, please get in contact with Mark Nimitz the next time you have an insurance need.
Yeah, all this information is on that ticker below, mnimitz at farmersagent.com. Reach out to Mark. Let him know that John and Jim from the wrap-up show sent you.
I mean, listen, I pulled it up yesterday or whenever we had our last show, Friday. The Diamondbacks outspent the Padres in 2024 in total spend. The Giants are going to do it. The Dodgers we already know about. So, I mean, you're going to be fourth in spending in your division. Doesn't mean you're coming in fourth place. But that's the hurdle that you're trying to overcome. And I keep seeing Dennis Lynn wrote, there's no expectation that the payroll is going up. Kevin Acey's writing tonight from the winter meetings. I mean, unless they're doing some about face, the Padres roster is going to be harder to put together because, again, they don't have that one fell swoop move they can make to free up payroll like they did last year.
I'm not so upset that they won't outspend the Giants this offseason or the A's or whatever. I got to see these moves first. Like they spent like no money last offseason, and they made some really, really good moves in hindsight. At the time, I was not happy with the Juan Soto trade because I'm like, huh? But King turned out to be very valuable, and hopefully they sign him to a long-term deal. Trading for Dylan Cease was massive. Getting Jurickson Profar turning into an all-star, massive. So, like in hindsight, it all was really good. But I gotta see these moves first, and if they spend the same amount as they did last offseason, but they make a bunch of trades and they bring in some guys to fill some, I'm cool with that. Now, Kevin, who is still alive, he is.
Yeah, we weren't sure. We hadn't heard from him in about a month.
He did write an article today, and in his article, it says this about the payroll and some players that they could go after in the starting pitching market. Obviously, he writes that they're heavily invested in Roki Sasaki, but obviously the Dodgers loom large over this whole thing, but they believe they have a chance. He says here, the Padres payroll is still expected to increase from 2024's season-ending $169 million mark. The organization, though, must continue winning in order to maintain the current level of fan interest and investment. Club officials have repeatedly vowed to fund a contending team year in and year out for the foreseeable future. He also says there have been strong indications that payroll number of $210 million going into the 2025 season will be lower by opening day, meaning the Padres have some maneuvering to do in the way of trades and or long-term contracts that would trim money owed for the upcoming season.
So wait, the 210 that they owe for 2025, he thinks will be pared back prior to 2025. That number will go down.
That's what he says. There's been strong indications that that payroll number will be lower by opening day, meaning the Padres have to do some maneuvering. So right now,
where does that lead you? Where does that lead your mind then? Or is that payroll number not inclusive of someone like Jurickson Profar, or does include? Like it can't be inclusive. He only made $1 million last year.
Well, he says without making a single significant move for 2025, the roster would seem capable of being competitive. Blah blah blah. He mentions that
players under team control are at 210.
Yeah, and he mentions the Padres could be in the trade market for players like Rays pitcher Zach Littell, Marlins Jesus Luzardo, and Brewers Aaron Savali, and others. He says that it's likely at this moment in time that Campusano could opening day be the starting catcher for this team if they don't go out and trade for a viable catcher.
No thanks.
And he mentions that it remains possible Jurickson Profar returns to the Padres, though there is a broad interest for the veteran who's coming off his best season. There has been he says there has been no reliable indication where the team will turn if Profar goes elsewhere.
Well, let's be clear. If I'm Profar and I represent Profar, I'm going to the Yankees and be like, yo, you just gave Soto 765. I had the same year.
By the way, this doesn't make sense to me. It seems as likely Luis Campusano, who finished the season in AAA after beginning it as the primary starter, will be packaged in a trade as B in spring training with the Padres.
Or B.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they just mistake in the article. But yeah, he'll either be their starting catcher or be a part of something that returns something, which makes sense to me. Again, I honestly, I've said this a lot now recently. I think Campusano probably works somewhere else eventually. And, I think someone would take a chance on him. He's a relatively young catcher that does have upside, hence the fact that the Padres are still potentially betting on his future, even despite the lack of productivity that we've seen from him. But if they're trying to lower payroll, it speaks to what we've talked about since day one. I've repeatedly said I thought Luis Ariz would remain a trade candidate. I still feel that way. I think Dylan Cease is probably a trade candidate. As crazy as that is, you're not re-signing him. So it kind of speaks to the Soto decision. It's like you weren't re-signing him. You maximized his value. They got burnt on Snell. They got, burnt on Hader. Like, if the writing is on the wall, you have to be thinking about the now and you have to be thinking about the later too. But how do you lower payroll? Give me that. I mean, you trade Jake Cronenworth? How do you trade Jake Cronenworth? To what team?
I don't know. I don't know.
And you don't trade. None of the big fish are getting traded. So I just don't see how you lower payroll. Like, what options do you have? You have a rise. You don't re-sign Profar. That doesn't lower your payroll. I don't know. You tell me. Put it in the chat. How do you lower payroll, Padres fans? How?
I'm against trading Dylan Cease this offseason and doing something that you did not do with Blake Snell. That if you are like, I mean, if at the deadline next year it just feels like something's off and they're not in it, you gotta strike while the iron's hot. And Dylan Cease could get you a ton back at the deadline next year. It's almost like, I mean, I hate it. It's like losing a battle to win a war. Like, you're not good next year. I would hate that because, and a lot of fans would hate that. But trading Cease at the deadline, you get so much back for him. And shit, maybe even you trade Michael King at the deadline. But then again, it's like, that's the thinking of like a GM. I just want to win. I want to win now. Fans want to win now. They're not like, oh, this dude's smart, responsible thing. Like, no, what the fuck? We want to win. We want to compete. And apparently what they're saying here is that, to keep this payroll around that number, the team's got to compete.
There's no world where, if you're AJ Preller, you could trade Michael King and Dylan Cease. I mean, that world doesn't exist unless the wheels have fallen off. And then you got way larger concerns. Your payroll won't be sustained in 2026 if the wheels fall off. Right. So at that point, you're in a rebuild with an aging veteran roster. If the wheels fell off in 2025, you're filling your system because you're selling off Cease and King and you're backfilling now with young players. And I don't even know how you could possibly sell that. So you have to basically stay, I'm not saying with all your chips in the middle of the table. I don't think they'll have all their chips in the middle of the table in 2025, the way it's felt in like 22 and 23 and 24. But how do you draw 3.2 million fans and then part ways with both Dylan Cease and Michael King and not, make every effort to at least re-sign one of them? I mean, what does your rotation look like if you didn't have both of them? Now, we don't know about Roki Sasaki. We're assuming Joe Musgrove will be fully healthy in 2026 and a key piece. We have no clue what Yu Darvish is doing in 2026. So I don't see a world where you don't put your best effort into retaining one of King or Cease. If you're the San Diego Padres, man, you just drew 3 million people. You have a $200 million payroll and you can't keep one of those two pitchers. That's not a good look.
No, you got to keep one of them. You have to. Like, that's like a no. You have no other option. You don't have an option. It's like option A or you're dead. Like, that's it. You have one option, and it's to re-sign either Cease or Michael King. Plain and simple. You don't do that, 2026 comes around, if you have Roki Sasaki, then it's going to lessen the blow a tiny bit, but not really, because Roki Sasaki will be in his second year, and you just lost 2 frontline starting pitchers potentially.
Right.
So,
yeah, that to me, I mean, again, I don't see the quick fix. The last year quick fix was the Soto trade. I didn't like it. You didn't like it. Did it end up working? Yeah. 93 wins by the Padres standards and reaching the second round of the postseason. Yeah. I mean, there were some successes in there, a lot of successes. But now an offseason later, you got to finagle again to keep this thing intact. You got to consider moving Luis Ariz. You got to consider moving Dylan Cease, or you got to pull a rabbit out of a hat and get rid of Jake Cronenworth. Hassan Kim's already gone, presumably. So, like, you're already going to have some wholesale change. Kim, Jerks and Profar. I don't think Profar's coming back based on all these indicators. I mean, if guys are getting paid, why can't he go out and get a 3-year deal? Why wouldn't someone overpay a little bit for Jerks and Profar? And it shouldn't be the Padres, I wouldn't think, if they got payroll problems.
Yeah, what's scary there is at the end of that article from AC, it's like if they don't re-sign Profar, they don't really have like anywhere to go. Like they're just think like it.
Go flyer some random 35-year-old, just find some rando, pay him $1.9 million and hope he can hit 260. JD Gaucho, thank you. He says, and thank you for the Superman. Thanks for your support of the channel. He says, my last comment was a shot at cheap owners. 25 of 30 major league teams had $100 million plus payrolls in 2024. No excuses for the Pirates, A's, Marlins, Detroit, and Tampa. Yeah, that's completely fair. I mean, it's stacked both ways, Jim. It's like you got your 5 spenders, starting with the Mets, and you have your 5 that don't spend. It's like it's a weird sport. Haves and have-nots. Half of the teams try to win, half the teams don't try to win. You want to be a have, not a have-not. I think the Padres are a team that do try to win, but man, it's hard when you're going up against teams like the Dodgers and the Mets, and like you said, the Giants doing everything in their power just to spend their way to success, maybe even in the short term, because Buster Posey's now there. They can't fall on their face over the next certainly 2 years. There'll be a 1-year grace, but you can't do it for back-to-back years, I wouldn't think, if you're Posey. So it's like it's hard when you're going up against teams like that.
Yeah, there is, one league, but there's sections of that league that operate differently. You have over here the big spenders, the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
You can, a couple other teams if you want to throw in there, like Phillies, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Giants, maybe kind of now, but and then you have the middling teams,
Padres,
that spend a little money. They spend money, but they can't spend a lot of money. The Padres were the big boy table for a bit, and now they're not anymore. Not saying it's a bad thing. It's just the reality of the sport. And that's why, like, the A's signing Luis Severino the other day was like, wait, they're spending money?
Right.
So the Padres are going to have to figure, and I've said this all along, this is going to have to be, this might be Preller's most difficult offseason that he has ever had, because of all the factors that are in place, from the parameters that he has, from not being able to spend a bunch of money, to you don't have a big trade chip to trade that you want to trade. You're not trading Salas or DeVries. Okay. And you have a bunch of holes that you got to fill with not a lot to do with. So yeah, I think that looking at his off seasons, that, he's won off seasons for sure, but this one, it just feels different to me. And I hope I'm wrong, but at this point in time, it feels different from a standpoint of, like, we're sitting here and we don't have any answers. And most of the time it's like we have something and it's like he needs to do this and he needs to trade this player and this player. There's none of that right now.
I need some type of good news shot in the arm for the fan base this week. I don't even know what that would entail. If that's a trade that's deemed to be a winning trade, or a splashy trade by AJ Preller, or some type of signing, or some type of admission that they have a willingness to spend, or some type of source report that says they are truly in on Roki Sasaki and they're going to be one of the finalists once he officially is posted. Let's get to the latest on Sasaki on the other side. We do want to remind our viewers that if you're looking for a holiday gift, and we are 2 weeks out? Is it even? 17 days.
17 days, yeah.
We're 17 days out. You're looking for a great holiday gift idea for the baseball fan in your life, and you've given everything to everyone. You're like, what am I supposed to buy this holiday season? Pick up a Mova Globe. Trust us, you're going to absolutely love them. Show it off, Jim, on screen. If you use promo code PWS10, PWS10, click the link in the description down below, or get to movaglobes.com. It's movaglobes.com. They have all 30 teams officially licensed, all 30. So you're a Padres fan or you're a Giants fan or you're a Red Sox fan, whatever it is. Pick one up for the baseball fan in your life. They're going to absolutely love them. My wife thinks they're super cool. My 5-year-old thinks it's awesome. It's a great desk item. It's great for a home office or a work office. And they automatically spin with artificial or natural light all day long. Technology was invented right here in San Diego, Cardiff by the Sea. They've got the official license for Major League Baseball. They have so many other globes as well, but they have all 30 MLB globes. Use promo code PWS10. Click that link in the description down below. Check them out. This is an amazing gift idea for a baseball fan in your life. The holidays are coming. You'll have it in time for Christmas. You'll have it in time for the holidays that you're celebrating this year. Promo code PWS10. Pick up a Padres Mova Globe. Pick up a baseball Mova Globe. And you'll be thankful. You will, because these are great, great items. We've got additional globes as well. We got these Earth globes back here. It's a great company, great people. And if you support the channel and if you're looking for a great holiday gift idea, use promo code PWS10.
Yeah, get one of these today for a family member, for yourself. Holiday. This is a great holiday gift.
It really is.
And use our promo code and get one for someone for the holidays.
All right, so Roki Sasaki, it was ESPN, and I think Jeff Passan it was, that reported that he is expected to be posted during the winter meetings. That opens a 45-day window. He can sign as early as January 15th. So that's the timeline. He's expected to be posted. He can't sign until the 15th. The top amount he's going to get is in the $7 to $8 million range. Some teams have a little more international money. Some teams have a little less. I think the Padres are kind of in the middle there. They don't have the least. They don't have the most. They can give $6+ million. I think the Dodgers are a little under that. We don't think it's a financial decision since those dollars are so small compared to like the Sotos and the Yamamotos of the world. But this process will play out beginning at the winter meetings, and he can sign as soon as January 15th. And once he's posted, he doesn't have more than 45 days, which means, truthfully, he'll be signed by late January. If he's posted at the winter meetings, he'll be signed by late January. He'll be in a camp in February. And the Padres are rumored to be one of the teams that has extreme interest in Roki Sasaki. And truthfully, Jim, they could use him in a big, big way. Big, big way.
He's it. He's the guy. He is the move. Now, it could all be for naught because it's like you're running a race, but you never were running a fair race. It was always rigged from the beginning type of thing. Right. If he goes to the Dodgers, but if this is a fair race, all indications are the Padres feel like they have a pretty good shot, or at least they feel like they're in it. And it could be all for naught. Like he could end up going with the Dodgers the second he's available. And this was, like I said, it was all for naught. But we're sitting here, like I just said, we're thinking about what moves to make, and it's hard for us to think about a move. Well, it's not hard to think about Roki Sasaki. He is the move. He is the move that, keeps you up with the Joneses. Like, hey, the Giants made a big offseason move. They can make more. The Dodgers, making their moves. The Mets just made their big move. What's the Padres' big move? They just signed potentially the next Paul Skeens for nothing.
That'd be nice.
And that's the only move that they can make. They can't go out and get Pete Alonso. They can't go out and get Corbin Burns. They can't get Max Fried, like Teoscar Hernandez. They're not doing that. He is the only move of the top 5-10 free agents that you can make without spending a bunch of money. And so, like, that's why I can't express this enough, how important it is for them to land Roki Sasaki. If they don't land Roki, John, I'm going to be extremely bummed. I think it would be like a huge punch in the gut.
It'll be a disappointment. I completely agree. And I'm with you. The part that makes it so hard is like, yes, it's the perfect addition and it's the hardest maneuver, if it makes sense. There's a lot of competition. Other teams are going to have similar interests because they all see the upside. There's only upside. He gets paid nothing. And what we're going to hear, Jim. Maybe he will meet with the Padres, but then maybe he will meet with the Dodgers, and then maybe he will meet with the Giants. And you're going to be on this roller coaster ride like, oh my gosh, he's met with 7 teams. Is it really going to be San Diego? I mean, are they really going to land him when he's met with, making it up, the Dodgers and the Giants and the Padres and the Red Sox? Is it really going to be San Diego when they've been bridesmaid before? Seiya Suzuki, Shohei Ohtani, these marquee, landmark Asian superstars that have come over and they haven't gotten one of that, top 1% caliber. And this player is one of those guys in Roki Sasaki. So do I think they've got a realistic shot? I do. How likely is it? I don't know. And the offseason, again, heading into last year, we weren't overly optimistic in their offseason, maybe until the Dylan Cease trade. And then certainly we got more excited once the season started. They traded for Luis Ariz, but I just don't know how optimistic people are going to be on the offseason. If everyone around you makes all these moves, you can't land Roki Sasaki. I don't know. I mean, how good can you have an offseason? What are you going to re-sign Jurickson Profar? That's a big move.
If you don't re-sign Jurickson Profar, then what?
Right.
Like Kevin says in his article, it's like they don't really have another option if they don't sign Jurickson Profar back.
I mean, this is a fair point. This is the point I was trying to make, and this is in one sentence. Not the not good part, but he's like JD's third thank you. He says we need a rookie more than he needs us.
Well, no, I don't. No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't not disagree. I mean, is the Padres selling point so over the top that it's better than the teams they're competing with? What are you selling? Are you selling you're going to win consistently moving forward? You're going to have the payroll to do it, and you're going to compete for division titles and championships.
Well,
can they sell that?
Yes, because you can sell like, hey, we're in the postseason 3 of the last 5 years. We made an NLCS, but also too, like, it's more than that. I think people aren't understanding. He wants to be in a situation that can develop him into a top line starting pitcher in the big leagues. You tell me the Padres don't have that? They absolutely do. They absolutely do have that with Ruben Niebla and the efforts and the resources that they're putting in to having a pitching developmental program at the big league level. You can't, like, they've partnered up with Point Loma. Ruben Niebla is one of the best pitching coaches in the game. The analytics that they're putting forth for pitching is top notch. Like, so I don't agree with that the notion that the Padres don't have anything to give Roki Sasaki. They absolutely do.
Not anything, but do they have more than other teams have to offer when it comes down to brass taxes? Is the Padres have more to give than I don't know. I'm asking the question. I can make the case they have more to give than the Dodgers because the way I can spin it, which is you can do something here that's never been done. They've already done it. You're never going to be the most marketed Japanese player there. You can be here, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, when you go up against the pitches of the other clubs, is their pitch going to be the most significant?
Well, here's what I would ask is, what is most important to Roki Sasaki? And when you find that out, then you know. But
yeah, I agree.
So, like, at this point in time, I don't know what is most important to Roki. Is it to be with some of his best friends in Shohei and Yoshinobu Yamamoto?
Sure.
Is it to be in the biggest market? Then it's the Dodgers. Is it to be on a World Series team every single year? Like, what is his main focus? Is it, I mean, if he's saying, I want to be on the West Coast, well, okay, that narrows it down to Dodgers and Padres. I want to be on a contender every year. Okay, well, Padres are, they're in the mindset of being a contender, and they paid the money to do that. Dodgers obviously are clear cut every single season. I want to be with people I know. Okay, well, you got Darvish here,
right?
And, you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Ohtani in LA. But if he says, I want to, be in the big, it's all about what he wants. And whatever he wants is going to be the reason where he chooses to play. I think the Dodgers are the favorites for sure in this. Padres are second. And I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's probably closer to 60-40 Dodgers, maybe a little higher than that. But yeah, it's all about what he wants, So yes,
yeah. I don't agree with this fully, JD's throw. I get the point. I mean, they could definitely be negatively recruited.
He's also trolling right now.
No, they could be negatively recruited against. Not really. I mean, he's a loyal viewer.
I know, but this is a troll.
I mean, we say the same thing. I mean, they've cut $90 million in payroll.
Okay, and then they won 93 games last year, and they're in the postseason, and they were a game away from taking out the World Series champions.
I agree, but I mean, two things can be true. It's like their window, they're trying to fit something into a very narrow path. Their pathway this year existed. It was narrow. They didn't take advantage of it. Is it widening up in the future? Are they going to have more opportunities moving forward or less opportunities moving forward based on the situation that they're currently in as a franchise? I mean, I think you could at least argue it. I listen, I'm a proponent of what AJ Preller did in 2024. Can he do it again in 2025? Like, the thing is, he's boxed himself in. The Machados and the Bogarts, they get older. So, like, if you're Roki Sasaki and his representation, you got to put it all into consideration. Can I win over the next 6 years here? Why or why not? Am I set up to succeed here? Why or why not? I mean, I could make a case either way on San Diego. I could make the case it's the right spot and they could win at a very high level for the next 6 years, or I could make the case that you got no shot because of the LA Dodgers. I mean, if you're going to be truthful with it, you could easily make the case that the path has narrowed with Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, Braves, and that your path is never going to be as good as it was in 2024 earlier. Couldn't you make that case? I could easily.
Yeah, you're in a window now where you need to put every resource you possibly can forward to win. You know, you're not so like I hope that the relationship that Yu Darvish has with Yamamoto is helps, and I hope that whatever relationship AJ Preller has with Yamamoto, or not Yamamoto, Sasaki helps. But yeah, it just might be not enough, and whenever he signs, we'll know the reasons why he signed there, and it will make sense.
I won't go down this path again with the next Japanese superstar if he doesn't sign here. I mean, like, how many guys can you not land yet be in on? And
well,
then
what other players were they like this heavily in on that they didn't get besides Ohtani?
Suzuki, certainly.
Seiya?
Yeah, they brought him in.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, Seiya Suzuki's a definite there. I mean, who are the I don't know. Look, who are the last 5 Japanese superstars to come over? They've probably been in on 3 or 4 of them.
They weren't in on Imanaga. They weren't in on Yamamoto.
That's because they have money.
Okay.
Right? I mean, Yamamoto's $300 million deal. Was that
right? Yeah, no, they weren't
going to happen. But
no.
I'm just saying, like, if you don't land Sasaki and you didn't land Ohtani and you didn't land Suzuki, you're going to then land the next one?
Like,
maybe
if their offseason turns out to be you re-sign Jurickson Profar and you trade for
a 5th starter,
and you're going into camp with Campy as your starting catcher. I don't know what the hell they're doing at short, by the way, because I think it sounds like Bogarts is going to be playing short to start the 2025 year.
Yeah. And right, because what other options do they really have as we sit here right now without a shortstop, assuming Ha-Seong Kim isn't here? So, not Jackson Merrill, not Fernando Tatis Jr.
So you could be looking at, I mean, next year's opening day lineup could be pretty similar to the end of this past year's lineup.
If you sign Profar, you're saying?
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. That's
no, I mean, that's
a good lineup. That's a real good lineup. And so it's about the other pieces. Like, their bench would be awful.
I mean, their bullpen obviously is taking a significant hit.
Their bullpen, well, yes, by losing Tanner Scott, but Jason Adam was amazing. Jeremiah Estrada was,
and Suarez is Suarez,
really good. Suarez was Suarez. You have Sean Reynolds, who's a guy that's up and comer. You have still, I mean, you're gonna have to try to get something out of Yuki Matsui, Wandy Peralta,
you're paying, yeah.
Adrian Morejon.
Yeah, you got some weapons. You got some weapons.
You have weapons in your bullpen for sure. I'm not like overly concerned. It's like I say every year, bullpen is the easiest to fix at the deadline. Case in point, this past year. So
Jason Adams under control for how long? 1 year?
I think it might be longer than that.
Would you trade Suarez? Just move him to closer, free up all that money. Boom.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Let me check. I like that a lot.
Like,
but it
I mean,
makes it tricky because of his opt out, John.
does he have an opt out every year or something? I forget.
Yeah, so he's only under control technically for one more season, unless he,
You're talking about Suarez or Adam?
yeah, no Suarez, but
I still think
Jason,
there's. Again, are you a contender with trading your closer? Not typically, but if you have a closer in the wings,
yeah, so Jason Adams under control for 2 more years.
it's going to be something unconventional. Is the point? I mean, where do you save your money? Is it on Suarez? Is it on a rise? Is it on? I don't even know. Dylan Cease. Where do you save your money? Is it on not signing Profar?
I would yeah, I would try to look just to, if I had to trade somebody to save some money, like, yeah, Robert Suarez, I would trade him over Luis Ariz.
I mean, he's capable of being elite, but also AJ Prella's proven that he can find suitable closers at less money.
Yeah, and the end of last year, how shaky he was does give me a little pause.
And his 2023 was awful. Now his 2024 was great by and large, but his 2023 was awful. HBBBV, thank you. I think if this is true, this is a big story. Roki doesn't want to play in LA because of a polluted crap stadium. If that's big, that could be a factor. But
well, it's hard to play baseball at that stadium right now because it's like all torn up.
Why? What are they doing there? Renovating?
Yeah. They're like putting in brand new clubhouses.
Oh, must be nice. Maybe that'll keep them from making another big move this offseason.
Potentially.
Probably not, though. Probably not.
Man.
So tomorrow starts the winter meetings officially, and we will have you covered on San Diego Sports 760. I would expect it to be busy. I don't think you start a winter meetings with something as significant as Juan Soto, the richest deal in the history of professional sports, and then that's it. That would
I love it.
me.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's good for baseball. It's really good for baseball.
You had Willy Adames yesterday, Soto tonight. You still have Burns
signed tonight.
Okay. You still have Burns, Fried, Pete Alonso, the Roki Sasaki talk. Who are the top other free agents? Like Kim's out there. Teoscar Hernandez. So yeah,
Blake Treinen got more per year than your boy Robert Suarez.
Okay, well, Blake Treinen was amazing in the postseason for the Dodgers.
His stuff is so filthy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's a big signing. Is my point.
Yeah, and Tanner Scott is another name out there who could.
He'll make a lot of money.
Yeah, I hope that he goes to like the American League, because you know who could get him? That it would suck. Like Phillies, Dodgers, Mets, Giants. Absolutely. Like, you don't want those 4 teams that I just named off to continue to spend this offseason.
I know.
Like slow down, guys. Yeah.
But again, like out of your control stuff. I mean, they're going to do what they want to do. Like you said, Steve Cohen kind of answers to no one.
Correct.
And the Dodgers spend. I mean, their spending's been ridiculous from the Ohtani, Hernandez, Snell. I mean, so you're not winning in that game. You're not going to. I mean, we're serious when we say they might not outspend the Oakland A's.
Oh, and the Dodgers, they signed Michael Conforto tonight.
That's right. 1 year, $17 million.
Yeah, and I saw a tweet about, someone was like, "Oh, Michael Conforto, he sucks." His splits from his road splits compared to his home splits, he was awful at Oracle Park, and he's pretty decent on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if he's healthy, he can give that team 20, 25 bombs, and then you put him in that lineup. I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised next year Michael Conforto it's like 30 home runs. Like,
right.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. Padres are going to need an outfielder. We know that.
But he cost $17 million per year,
and they just 17 mil.
And like Profar had a better season than Michael Conforto,
and they just spent 17. So you're saying Profar is going to take mid-teens to get done, or more?
Mid-teens, longer term deal. Obviously, he's not signing for a 1 year deal, but it's going to have to be mid-teens minimum.
Yeah, do you see that? I don't see it. They don't want to pay Luis Ariz that. Are they going to pay Jerkson Profar that? I mean, I don't know.
Hey,
Maybe.
what do you like to tell me all the time? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, you don't sign players and you don't make these moves, you're going to be having that SpongeBob guy from fucking Cleveland in your starting outfield and opening day.
Yeah, we like him. We he had a nice camp.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the big leagues.
Give me a break.
mean, I'm with you. Guys, we do want to remind you, this is an amazing time to play over at Underdog with all the NFL, college football playoffs, NBA, NHL action. Baseball will be here before we know it as well. If you use promo code PODSWRAP, that's PADSWRAP, you're going to get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000, their best offer yet, plus a gimme first pick. What is a gimme first pick in a pick'em? Where you just have to choose a simple higher or lower, just pick higher or lower. A gimme first pick is like higher than a half pass attempt from Patrick Mahomes or higher than a half total point from Bronny James, who had his first career slam dunk tonight in the NBA.
Actually.
I'm kidding about Bronny, but they'll give you the pick'ems. Okay, they're going to give you one of them. They're going to give you a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. All you have to do is use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. Couldn't be easier. Couldn't be more fun. Underdog Fantasy. Play across multiple sports. Win up to 1,000 times your money. We had some huge wins during the baseball season in 2024. You can do the same this winter and in 2025 as well. So if you haven't played, now's the time. Go to Underdog Fantasy. Click that link in the description down below or scan that QR code that's kind of over Jim's head and use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP.
Right there.
That one.
There. It's easy to play, fun to play. Underdog Fantasy. You can win some big time money. Use our promo code PWS10. No, PODSWRAP. Sorry, I got too many promo codes in my mind. PODSWRAP. PODSWRAP. PADSWRAP. Sign up right now. You get a free gimme pick. It is right now, John. Oh wait, hold on. They locked me out. Hold on. Just sign in. Why is it not? Let me do this. Nice. I don't have it. It's not letting me sign in. It's not letting me sign in.
That's good.
Log in. There we go. Yeah, Joe Burrow, higher than a half total yard passing against the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow night on Monday Night Football.
I don't know, man. That Dallas defense, they've been holding quarterbacks to 0 yards or less.
Dude, have you seen? I know you haven't, but this year, Joe Burrow, he's already thrown for 30 touchdowns. His stats this year, John,
that's good.
In 12 games, he's thrown for he leads the league in passing, 3,300 yards passing, 30 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions thrown all year.
Make him MVP. What is the record? Like 4-8?
Yeah, they're awful.
Most valuable player on the worst team.
What's the best numbers?
Albert, appreciate you, man. Very kind. Thank you for your support of the channel. He says, Friar, faithful. Let's shake hands. Thank you, Albert, for your support of the channel. Guys, if you're here, you know the deal. Please subscribe. We'll be with you throughout the winter meetings. So any news that breaks, we've got you covered on the wrap-up show. If you haven't subscribed, now is the time to do it. Also, make sure to get over to John and Jim on YouTube. Find John and Jim 760. If you haven't subscribed, now is the time to do that. We have you covered through the entirety of the winter meetings, 2 to 6 weekdays, San Diego Sports 760. Join us tomorrow, iHeartRadio app or on San Diego Sports 760 or on YouTube. YouTube's
great.
I searching for John and Jim 760. I love YouTube, man.
By the way, we are 31 subs away from 7,800.
What?
So let's get that sub count up.
I don't know if I'm. Yeah, we need to get to 7,800 to have winter meetings content.
Yeah. Like by the end of the week, we need to be we got to be at 7,800, well past it, like on the way to 8K. Like we are on the mission to get to 8K before the start of next year. Hell, before the freaking January 15th deadline of Roki Sasaki. So get that sub count up. Let's get this 7,800, and then we'll start a YouTube channel.
We do. We
have a YouTube channel. It's the Warp Up Show. So
yeah, shout out to whoever bought a Wrap Up Show T-shirt today online because they got an email.
Oh, that's awesome. You're the one person.
Who are you? Are you here? Someone bought a T-shirt today.
That's great.
All right, let's talk some net, Jim.
Okay.
JD Gatcher says, John, at Night's End, UC Irvine. has a net of 25. UCSD is 72. Does UCI have a legit at-large chance? No, they don't, JD Gaucho. If UCSD wins it, Utah State, can they start thinking at-large? No, neither of them can be at-large. Neither. Not possible. You know how it works. Literally impossible.
Those are the rules.
Those are the rules. So no, there's no, because they'll lose a game and they'll plummet 30 spots. You know how it works. It's impossible. But they've had good years, no question about it. And it's a benefit for San Diego State what UCSD has done. Aztecs won the other night against San Diego. How about that, Jim?
Yeah.
You enjoy that?
Very good game. Is Goon okay?
It's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
It's fine.
Dutch said he was fatigued.
Okay.
Relax.
You have a 25-10 night. You're pretty tired.
Again, didn't score.
Yeah. It's all right. You'll have
Transfer portal opens up tomorrow as well.
Oh, okay. That's great.
All right. For Jim, I'm John. We'll see you tomorrow. Winter meetings underway, 2 p.m. San Diego Sports 760. Join us on YouTube and on YouTube and also on the iHeartRadio app. Peace.